All right, let's launch into effective the rest of the night body paragraphs. So the first step, and I'm only going to give you 3 steps, and then I'll show you like step 2 is the thorough one. I'm going to show you a lot about how that looks. But the first step, the first sentence of your body paragraph, so many students get away from this actually. These are so important because it's grounding yourself. Clearly state the author's most important strategy. And then again, I'm recommending that you organize your essay through beginning, middle, and end. Now, granted, if you have 2 body paragraphs, maybe it's beginning, end, or like the most important trend in the middle. There's just some stuff to figure out based on the prompt. But I recommend analyzing by the most important strategy by section, because that's just going to open up doors to higher levels of analysis. So that's why I push my students there. You don't have to do it that way, but you still have to talk about an important writing strategy. I think going by section is an effective way to organize your thoughts. When I say it opens up doors to analysis, what I mean is that you can say, hey, this is what the audience was thinking before the speech began. This is why the speaker had to address the audience from the get-go as he or she did. So you're just getting, again, forcing yourself to get into the audience's head. What are they thinking? How is the author essentially meeting them where they are? Here's why I want you thinking about step 1. You don't have to analyze beginning, middle, and end, but I'm just emphasizing you have to analyze at a high level. Again, this is what I was just talking about. It encourages you to consider the why. No matter if you use my recommendation here or not, and not all my students do, and they're super effective if they don't. They just have to give me a rationale of like, based on the prompt, this is why I chose not to do it that way. Like you just have to have a reason for your organization, right? But you have to always be answering the why. So why is step 1 important? It's 1 sentence, it's your topic sentence. Topic sentences are crucial because they show you and your reader, they're making sure you're organized and you're ready to move on. If you just launch into it, oftentimes it's not so much like us as readers, like we can pick up what you're throwing down. We can understand where the high level analysis is occurring. The real problem here, and that's why I included it, is you. You are organizing your thoughts. You're finding the most important writing trend. So topic sentences are an effective component of effective writing. But the real problem comes with what's after oftentimes. If you don't have a strong topic sentence, your body paragraphs often fall apart. And I'm not meaning you, I mean like that's the trend that we see. So topic sentences are just securing yourself, making sure you're writing what's worth writing about. All right, step 2, clearly the most important step here because it's every sentence except for the first and the last. Step 2, as much as you can, not summary, analysis. Again, when I say analysis, getting into the audience's head, how is the author moving the audience? So explaining how the author's choices in this section works to achieve the overall purpose. And again, focusing on how the author anticipates the audience's thoughts and reactions. That before and after effect that I talked about earlier is super beneficial here. Let's move. I'm going to show you by the end of the night an example of what each of these steps looks like. Clearly, why this is important, I've said before, quality over quantity. This is the bulk of your body paragraphs. I've said it's the bulk of your time. This is where you truly earn your essay score. Introductions, I said last week, are icing on the cake. I started with them, even though obviously you got to make the cake before you ice it. I started with them last week just because it's the order of your essay. But this is where you spend your time. So there's tension I talked about with timing. I've coached some of my students who are not ready for introductions yet at this point in the year, like in terms of like what I talked about last week, to focus on the body paragraphs. Once those are going well and once we're getting up to speed, then we'll go ice the cake. We can't just eat icing, as nice as that would be. You've got to have a nice cake to go with it. This is where I want you to focus the majority of your energy. So really, when you're doing, in my timing, the first 12 minutes reading, you're thinking about your body paragraphs, right? You're thinking, what's the purpose? What am I going to talk about? What's the audience thinking? So clearly, you're only spending X amount of time writing. Well, as you're reading rhetorical analysis, you're reading with an analytical mind. What might I write about in my body paragraphs? That's the purpose of reading. And lastly, step 3. A lot of students get away from this too. I'm going to be transparent with you. This is the least important of the 3 steps, but I think it's an easy win, and it can just improve your organization, improve your scores. Focus on, in one sentence, how the part of the text you analyzed fits into the argument as a whole. Ineffective concluding statements simply restate the topic sentence, right, in different words. I want to push you to go beyond that. So again, I'll show you a model of that here in context. But again, focus on the argument as a whole. If I just say, like, well, let's just spitball here. I found a metaphor in line 3. That's my topic sentence, right? Here's what the metaphor means. Here's why the author used a metaphor. And then my concluding sentence would be, the metaphor made his argument or her argument more effective. Like, just very generic phrasing like that is ineffective. That's not where I want you to go. And I'm saying all of that because, honestly, that's the majority, at least more than half, of the rhetorical analysis essays I read every year at the AP reading. So many students are just being vague and not really getting to the point of analysis. So that's why this is a super impactful and hopefully for you impactful and effective live session tonight, or replay if you're watching on a replay. Let's really lean into what effective analytical writing, finally, let's look at what it looks like. So remember, step 3, why is step 3 important? Again, I said this at the beginning, it affects and improves your organization. Anytime you can do that, that's a win. And honestly, and this is why, like, it's very easy, and this is what I was just talking about, to see where you're just doing it because you think you should do it, right? And sure, like, yeah, I know you're supposed to organize your essay, but then it's not clear to your reader, like, it looks like you're just checking a box. You're not actually, like, in full control of the analytical task. Step 2 here, or number 2 here, is why it's the most important. It actually improves your analysis, and I'll show you what that looks like here again in a minute.